Yo, what's up, YouTube? This is your boy Alex, and today, Sunday, I got a brand new episode of Sex Game for y'all today. And yes, this video is for women and for men. Now, I told y'all like 4 or 5 days ago last week that I was going to make another video about the best television and film studios in filmmaking history. This one was a very difficult list to make. The list has been made, and depending on how well received this video is, I will make a part 2. Now, my other video, that's also a part 2. That's already been filmed. That's already packaged and ready to go, but I don't want to drop 2 videos in one day, and then they don't get a very good critical reception. Now, all my videos as thus far have been getting very good critical reception, so I want to continue that trend. You know, my producer told me I put out way too many videos and I need to slow down and give the audience a chance to watch the videos at least 3 to 4 times so they can understand what I'm saying in the videos versus you just pop out 2 videos, 3 videos, 4, 5, 6, 7 videos and y'all be like, man, slow down, that's too many videos too fast. So every now and then I'll give you 2 videos, maybe one day, or 2 videos 2 or 3 days later, so it doesn't seem like it's too overwhelming. Each and every single year when I get to the end of the year, I like to pump the brakes, slow down, and give you 2 to 3 videos in a 3 or 4 day span. That means it could be 2 days later or it could be 4 days later. Then I give you 2 videos, and if it's a very good day, 3 videos. All right, this one, it's going to be called Sex Game, the best television film studios of filmmaking. That's going to be the title of it. And it's going to be part 1, and it's for women and for men. So this is going to be a very interesting video because I've never talked about the television film studios. Like, I've always went to film school, I've always heard stories of it, but I've never really quite got to this subject. And this is still in the realms of television and film. So I'm going to tell you the best television / film studios, and if it's a very good received video, then I will make a sequel, and that will probably be talking about the best sports television shows and sports. And then if that's real good, then I'll get into the best TV talk shows. I don't want to just come up with great ideas and then the first video doesn't become a critical reception. So you know how I do now. If part 1's good and it gets well received, you get a part 2. Part 2's good, then you get a part 3. That's how I roll. You know, I'm like the film producers in Hollywood. If the first movie's good, if the first one's a smash hit, you get into part 2. Part 2's a smash hit, you get into part 3. If part 1 suck, you ain't gonna be getting no part 2 and part 3. So that's how I roll. I have the mind of a film producer. They have to be real good. All right, coming in at number 9 is FX. Now, I like FX, the cable channel, because it's like a nice way of saying what is on Fox, primetime television, can't be on primetime television. And FX is like, it's almost like saying it's an uncut version. Like, some of my best shows are on FX. I like Rescue Me. I don't know if y'all like Rescue Me, but I like Rescue Me. It's a very good show. It's about firefighters. I like Rescue Me. I like Sons of Anarchy. I like The Mayans. That's on FX. Anything that's on FX, The Shield. When The Shield first came on primetime cable, it was on FX. Now you got like 3 FX channels, fast forward 10 to 11 years later. So I like the FX cable channel. When they showed Legion, like, if you watch the X-Men movies, they made an actual television show that was kind of like in the same world of X-Men. Well, I like Legion. Anything that they put on FX, I'm going to watch. All the television shows are smash hits. They're very well produced, very well directed. They're packaged, ready to go, distribution. And I like FX because a lot of my favorite primetime cable shows are on there. Anything they put on FX, 99.99% is guaranteed to be a smash hit. Sons of Anarchy got 7 seasons. Rescue Me, 6 seasons. Mayans already got like 2 or 3 seasons already. There's Legion, it already got 2 or 3 seasons. Some of these shows could get canceled at any time, but they become successful. And I watch this show, so I like FX. That's why I think it was good when Fox came up with a concept. Let's make shows that are for a mature adult audience. And Fox could just be its primetime television show. I mean, and that seemed like the right direction to take the company into. And when they made the ones where they would show all the X-Men films, that's pure genius. So I like FX just because of that. So that's why they're at number 9. Now, they could be rated a little higher, but there's a lot of competition, and I got a lot of television film studios that's on this list. So that's why they're at number 9. Now, maybe in the future they could move up depending on what they start doing with their shows. Coming in at number 8 is the CW Network. I mean, they have a lot of names. First, it was called Channel 5, and they were called UPN. Then they called the CW Network. Now, to me, this is where you get the best content when it comes to shows. Vampire Diaries, the originals. There's One Tree Hill, OC, the OC. When they did the reboot to 9210, it was very successful. And then, of course, there's shows like The Flash, there's The Arrow, Legends of Tomorrow, Black Lightning, Supergirl, and now you got Stargirl. And to me, if you want DC superheroes, this gives you close to the correct interpretation of all your characters from televisions and shows. To me, this is like if you're in high school or in college, this is the right channel for you. Like, they have something for everyone. When I was a kid, it was always, we got something for 18-year-olds, 21-year-olds. We got something for people that's in their 30s and 40s. But what about if you're in high school and college? When you're going to college for a semester, right? You want to have something that's for your age appropriate. And the CW Network is fit for the audience between the ages of 18 to 27, or you could say ages 18 to 30. Sometimes it could be ages 18 to 35, but the demographics is very strong, very powerful, and they got some good ratings in television. They know who watched the shows. They know which age audience watched the television shows. And when I was in film school, my teacher always taught me, always compare television ratings to the movie box office. Like, the movie box office, it could be the top 10, top 15, top 20 movies that are blockbuster hits. Like, for an example, when Avengers first came out, the very first Avengers in 2012, that got number 1 at the box office for like almost 2 months. Then, of course, you had The Dark Knight Rise, the third film in the Batman Christopher Nolan trilogy, and that was like at number 2 or number 3 at the box office. Well, when you watch television shows on the CW Network, you would probably see The Flash would probably be like at number 1, Arrow would probably be at number 2 or number 3, and Supergirl would be right behind it. And these shows would do strong in the television ratings, and you would compete against other television shows. Like primetime television, there's Law and Order, there's shows like NBC, Dateline, 2020, you got all these primetime television shows. If they come on at 8, 9 o'clock, that's primetime television. If it gets to like 10, 11 o'clock, that's still primetime television. Yeah, that's late for a show to come on, but they always tell you if it's from 6 to like 8 o'clock at night to 10, that's primetime television. That's where you want to shine with your television program. That's where you want to get the strongest ratings in television. Like, if you can get a 7.1 or a 7.2 or maybe a 7.5 or an 8.2 rating, that's like 8 out of 10, right? So from a scale from 1 to 10, if you can get a 7 or a 7.5 or an 8 or an 8.2 out of 10, that means your television is doing very strong in the television ratings. That means you got ages 18 to 35, sometimes ages 18 to 40 demographics that's watching your television shows. And it don't matter which television show it is. I mean, if it's doing that good, that well, That's how it gets green light for a second season, season 3, season 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, or how many seasons the producers and executive producers want to green light a television show that's on prime time. You know, you watch NBC, you watch ABC, you know, you watch those shows and they get green light for a second and a third season because the ratings are so strong that you could look at how those shows do so very well in the statistics. It goes by viewership. So if you got 20,000 people watching and then a year later you get 50 or 60 or 70 to like maybe 1.1 million people watching your show, that means you got strong ratings in the viewership. And producers and executive producers like that because when they go to their stockbrokers and their shareholders, they get good numbers. Good numbers mean money, and money means to greenlight another season. Another season means what? More money, more opportunities, more seasons. This is what I learned in film school. Coming in at number 7 is HBO. Now, HBO, we all know HBO is like with Warner Brothers, and HBO is where all of my favorite movies pop on. I mean, all of my favorite movies pop up on HBO. Like, when I was a kid, my mom was like, well, you got to be 18 to 21 to watch HBO. I will not let you watch it unless you're old enough. And, of course, there was Cinemax, Cinemax 2, Cinemax 3. Now you got HBO, HBO 2, HBO 3, HBO 4. Now we got HBO Max, right? So now you got all these other versions of HBO on your premium cable channel, right? And they've managed to survive as a cable channel for 20 plus years, which is very outstanding, very incredibly great for a cable channel service to do very good. I remember that they would I remember back in the day when I was a kid, they used to charge you like maybe an extra $1 or $2 or $3 extra for a lot of these cable channels that came in the 1990s, early 2000s. I remember I wanted Stars, Showtime, and my mom was like, you can either get Showtime and Stars, Showtime 2, Showtime 3, Stars 2 and 3, or you can get HBO 1 and 2, but we're not getting all the channels. So it was HBO and HBO 2 and 3, and it was you can't get Stars and Stars 2 and Showtime because they would cost you extra money. This is what people complain about, what's better, cable or satellite? You may never know. I might make a future video in the category of television and film. What is better, cable or satellite? Most of y'all are going to argue it's cable. Some of y'all are going to say satellite. That's a future video. Not now, but in the future. But I'm trying to tell you how it was in the 1990s and the early 2000s. And when all my favorite primetime television shows came on, I would always look forward to these cable channels. This is where I got to watch a lot of the adult content. Anytime they show The Godfather Part 2, when they would show Scarface, any of my favorite film noir movies, LA Confidential, a lot of times it would get on an HBO, HBO 2. There was even one called HBO Works once upon a time. So they have a lot of these things. And then you can go on the internet and type it up, and you could watch it on live stream. So I have a lot of history with HBO. I'm just telling you, I have a lot of history with this. Coming in at number 5 is Warner Brothers. I don't know if y'all have ever went to Warner Brothers Studios, but about 14 years ago, on my birthday, I remember that my mom did it again. Like the first time I got to meet Jean-Claude Van Damme when he was in the prime of his career and he was doing the action-packed movies in the 1980s and the 1990s. You know, Jean-Claude Van Damme was a big draw at the box office. And at that time, I got to go to the Warner Brothers lot. And it was my first time getting national exposure on what it is that they do in the television film industry. Like at that time, I was hungry for information, for knowledge. I wasn't even in film school yet. And my mom's best friend was a police officer for 10 years, and she had connections to the entertainment industry, and she had 2 or 3 contacts. One of those contacts was at Warner Brothers Studios. This was like 14 years ago. I was like a kid. Like, I hadn't even went to high school and college yet to even understand the filmmaking process yet. And at that point, I saw film producers, executive producers, film directors, screenwriters in this one big room. And that's where they would create the magic. They would call it the magic room at Warner Brothers. And what they would do is they would discuss ideas on what they could put in movies and television shows, what they would take in, what they would film, what they would edit out, re-add, take out, reshoot. And I would see a lot of their studios. And they had a tour guide. And the tour guide would show us, this is where we filmed the original 9210 television show, right? This is where we would film the original show. You could see the set of some of these movies and television shows. And I wanted to see the set of Lethal Weapon because I liked it, the Mel Gibson Lethal Weapon movies. You know, Lethal Weapon 1, 2, 3, right? And they were already working on a Lethal Weapon Part 4 when they were already doing the third film. So I got to see the camera guy, the camera operator, because he would leave one studio's lot at Warner Brothers and he would go to another one. That's where they would do all these big budget movies. And they would have this executive meeting where the producer's there, the executive producer, the director's there, and they would discuss ideas on what the sequels could be. And sometimes there would be acting auditions in another studio. So while we would be in one room, I'm talking about when I went to Warner Brothers lot, and that's where they did Beverly Hills Cop 1 and 2. And I just enjoyed the fun. They had a restaurant, they had a cafe, and I had never seen so many film crew in a cafe in my entire life. I had never seen over 50 people in a cafe, and they got their name tags and their ID badges. You know, it'll say camera operator, it'll say assistant camera operator, it'll say lighting director, assistant lighting director, screenwriter, assistant screenwriter. You would see all these name tags, and that's how they ran Warner Brothers. And I was so amazed that I went into a antique shop and they had everything DC Comics, like DC Comics store at Warner Brothers. All of the Superman comic books, Batman, Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Flash. We didn't have Green Arrow yet. We did not have Cyborg yet, but we had certain characters. And because Warner Brothers was a good company, they also was affiliated with Six Flags Magic Mountain. Like, they could decide which rides could be which characters from DC Comics. Like the Superman ride, yeah, Warner Brothers got in on that and got paid. You know, this is stuff that you wouldn't know unless you were in film school or if you worked at Warner Brothers. They had the music division. Oh yeah, my dad had ties to Warner Brothers too. He knew this one lady that was executive producer 20 years ago, and she discovered one of these rap artists in the late 90s, early 2000s, got the guy's rap music career started, and they've been friends ever since. So yeah, my mom and my dad, I guess in a way you can say they have ties to Warner Brothers, so it kind of runs in the family. If I was to ever become a film director or a screenwriter, I guess you would probably say one of the big major film studios that I would love to do business or ever get employment with in the future would probably be Warner Brothers, because it kind of runs in the family. You know, my mom got ties and connections, my dad got ties and connections to Warner Brothers, so you probably would say Warner Brothers. Now, I said that Warner Brothers is number 5, but I never told you what was number 6, so I apologize for that. Got happy and excited. I'm probably going to say at number 6 is AMC. Now, why do I like AMC Movie Channel? I guess I like AMC because I like the movie theater. I mean, again, it must run in the family because my mom would always go to an AMC movie theater, and I would end up going to an AM movie C theater. So it seems like it kind of runs on that side of the family. I like the cable channel. They always had this cable channel for years. And I like the AMC because they have AMC movie theaters. Like, there's just history. A lot of my favorite movies were at AMC movie theater. I only had like 3 movie theaters in the whole world that I would go to if I wanted to see a Batman film, Superman, X-Men, any movie. I would always go, see the Rave movie theater, Yes, they actually had that. The second one would be the Cinemark. And then AMC movie theater. Everywhere I go, it's like I just like the AMC movie theaters. Of course, there's the movie theater at the Grove, and that grew on me because anytime you see these big movie premieres, I always try to visualize what if I was an actor from a big budget movie or television show? What would I do if I went to a movie theater? And I always visualize. At one point, there was United Artists, but, United Artists didn't make as much money as it used to, and it just fell apart. But I actually liked it, United Artists movie theater. But AMC, it just touched me. Like, when you have a movie theater, you get that full movie theater experience. You walk in, you can smell fresh popcorn. I know what you women and men know what I'm talking about. When you leave college or you leave work or you leave the gym, you want to celebrate a job promotion, your birthday. I go to an AMC movie theater, I can smell that fresh popcorn. There's the candy section, there's soda, there's hot dogs, there's chips. There's nachos, and the service was just good. And to watch some of these movies in IMAX was the best movie experience that you were going to ever get. And the seats were comfortable, and they had food service. And a lot of these AMC theaters started showing some pay-per-view fights. They started showing boxing and mixed martial arts. All of a sudden, they started showing the NBA Finals